And we are live once again with Raw Talks. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have Phil Johnson on board with me here. And I'm quite excited about this because LinkedIn is always known to where you follow all these thought leaders and all these I would say wannabes as well. And I was lucky because I finally got to meet someone who actually knows what he's talking about. So good day to you, Phil.
Hey, Stefan, it's great to see you again. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. So Phil, I know you have a couple of years on your back in regards to coaching and helping leaders. Could you give a little blurb about who you are and what you do and what MBL is for that matter?
Sure. Master of Business Leadership Academy is a company that I founded 25 years ago to help executives and organizations achieve success in their business and in their personal lives. Prior to that, I was an executive in the semiconductor industry for about 20 years, traveling about 60,000 miles a year throughout North America and the Pacific Rim. So I've been an executive coach. We've working in 16 different countries during this past 25 years.
And that's quite interesting. So what does MBL do? Is it a course or is it executive coaching or what is it?
It's both. It's a program, um, and it's executive coaching.
All right.
So it's a proven process that develops leadership, emotional intelligence, higher levels of trust and engagement, which leads to career, personal, and business success. I've helped organizations generate hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and executives advance in their careers. Um,
Cool. I have a very, very raw and very, very simple question because I
excellent.
actually still wonder about it. So maybe you can even help me. What is leadership?
Leadership is the ability to inspire others to follow your example. It's not an intellectual process. It's a process it's an experiential process. In other words, you cannot develop leadership, or for that matter, emotional intelligence, by reading a book or having a conversation like this one or watching a video. Those are all intellectual and will do nothing to develop leadership and emotional intelligence. So the development of leadership and emotional intelligence um, is focused on actions and results.
And then results, but that has nothing to do with what's happening inside of you, I guess. Is that what the executive coaching is about?
Yeah.
Uh, so what do you
Yes.
do when you do that? I just wonder because we all work in different ways, but you're a grand old master, so please.
If you don't mind, in about 3 or 4 minutes, I can explain the root cause, problem, and solution standing in our way.
Yes, please.
Now, for most people, what I'm about to say might sound like Swahili, but I've been proving this all over the world.
Hmm?
Um, we're actually only conscious about 3 to 5% of the time. The rest of the time, we're relying on our habits, our unconscious habits, to drive the bulk of our behavior and our results. But when we're born, we're not born with a conscious mind. We don't start to become conscious until we're about a year old. But we are born with an unconscious mind, and we immediately start wiring up our brain, creating those neural network pathways that become the habits we need to survive, fit in, all of that. And a lot of those habits, unfortunately, cause us to give away our energy. And we do it in lots of different ways. How we communicate, how we listen, how we take responsibility, how we make decisions, all sorts of ways. But when we're unconsciously giving away our energy, it creates an energy deficit in us. So at the same time that we're unconsciously giving away our energy, we need to be replacing that energy by stealing it from others. And that dynamic is going on inside of everyone, everywhere, all over the world, all the time, unconsciously. And that is the root cause of all drama, chaos, and conflict, distrust, disengagement. So what I do in the MBL program is I show people how they're unconsciously giving away their energy, and I give them better habits to practice to stop doing that. And when they stop giving away their energy, they no longer need to steal the energy of other people. And the results of doing what I call this emotional labor, there are many results that occur in parallel. They become more inspirational leaders. They become more emotionally intelligent. They become more conscious of what's going on in them and around them, which leads to higher levels of trust and engagement, which helps to distance them from their ego-based fears, which leads to career, personal, and business success. So, in summary, all of those benefits occur by developing the habits that enable us to stop giving away our energy. And that is the root cause and the root cause solution to everything.
Everything to give away energy, but when I'm motivating people on a leader basis, I give out my energy to people, don't I?
Not necessarily. No, your how you show up in the moment either inspires people to become more engaged or frightens people to become less engaged. See, we have these specialized brain cells because we've evolved from tribes, herds over hundreds of millions of years. We've had to develop the ability to sense whether somebody's trying to help us or hurt us. So we have these specialized brain cells in our prefrontal cortex that brain scientists call mirror neurons. That's why when you walk into a room, you can sense the energy in the room, or you're having a conversation with somebody, you can sense whether they're trying to help you or hurt you. Um, so as you develop the habits to stop giving away your energy, the people around you automatically begin to sense that they can lower their walls and be more of who they truly are around you, which leads to higher levels of trust and engagement. I'll give you an example of a company that's currently valued at over $4 trillion, and they're doing about $600 billion a year in revenue, and their primary hiring focus is emotional intelligence. That company is Apple. That's why when you walk into an Apple store, the energy you feel is an example of a more emotionally intelligent. And those are the types of environments that the MBL Academy helps to create.
Oh, so how that's interesting because it's at least what I know of, and it's about appearance. In general, it's all about what you do within the first 7 seconds when you encounter another person.
Let me also, that's a good point. Um, all behavior is triggered by emotion, not intellect. It's part of our brain called the limbic system. So very quickly, based on whether our walls are up or down, whether based on whether we're trying to steal the other person's energy or not, very quickly the other person recognizes emotionally whether they can trust you or not. And that happens very quickly. So practicing the habits that enable us to lower our walls and stop giving away our energy enables us to literally outcare the competition. We can develop deeper, trusted advisor relationships with the people we seek to serve than our competitors.
It's interesting. So it's very interesting.
All purchasing decisions are emotional decisions. They're made in the limbic part of our brain, the emotional part of our brain. And after we've decided emotionally whether we trust somebody or not, whether we want to buy something from them or not, then we look for features and benefits intellectually to justify the decision that we've already made emotionally.
It's all about creating trust, I guess.
It's all about learning to lower our walls and stop giving away our energy, which creates trust.
So how do you give away energy?
Give you an
For
example.
yeah,
One of the MBL habits is called authentic listening. And the key to authentic listening is not to take anything personally. How somebody feels about you, whether they like you or whether they don't, has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what's going on inside of them. But if how we feel about ourselves is based on how anybody else feels about us, who's running our life, us or them? Well, it's them, right? If they like us, we like us. If they don't like us, we don't like us. Now, as crazy as that sounds, what I've just described is all of social media. We bend over backwards to get people to like us so we can feel better about ourselves. So that's an example of how we're unconsciously giving away our energy to others. But that's only half of the equation. The other half is that when we're doing that, we have to be replacing that energy by trying to steal it from others, often using some type of position-based power to control and manipulate.
Oh yeah, especially in regards to social media, I would say when you spend your energy with not a human being, you even get challenged exchanging energy with other people because you're already filled up with the I would say the dopamine that you receive by
Either the person you're interacting with is inspiring you to lower your walls because they're not trying to steal your energy, or they're triggering you to raise your walls because you view them as a threat. And all of that is happening at an unconscious emotional level. It's not happening at a conscious level. It's happening at an unconscious level. And as you mentioned earlier, it happens in a fraction of a second.
yeah, you can already see if you can trust a person. But yeah, one of my personal tricks is, for instance, where when I meet a new person because of Corona and COVID and all that, we are very much online. I learned, I adapted my skill set to every time I meet someone, I do this. Hello, and then I smile in two different ways because that tells you what my borders are in regards to my emotional.
That's another MBL habit. Called. I'll tell you what's going on there. You're creating what's called a limbic system lock. So in other words, your laughter, your smiling is triggering the other person emotionally that they don't need to fear you, that you're not a threat. So laughter is another great way of learning to lower our walls and build trust and engagement, provided it's authentic. It's not.
Yeah,
See,
don't worry,
it's
mine
got.
is authentic.
Yeah. See again. We can spot the difference when somebody's being real, when somebody's being authentic. We know it, and when they're not, we know it.
And I guess most people, also leaders for that matter, actually have a problem with that being authentic, being themselves.
Yeah, I just actually wrote a book on this called
Really?
it's a bit of a plug, Corporate Life: The Executive's Handbook. Um, Most executives aren't leaders, and it's not their fault because they were never trained to be leaders. Most executives were brought up to use position-based power to control and manipulate others. That's why the level of engagement, employee engagement within organizations is so low. The Gallup this year, Gallup has estimated that the current level of employee engagement worldwide is 21%. Low levels of employee engagement are costing the global economy over $9 trillion a year. So it's a massive problem that the MBL program addresses.
That's an interesting perspective because how do you scale that out in regards to becoming a leader? Because I always believed, pardon me, of course, taking all your many years of leadership programs, I have a hard time believing that you can develop yourself as a leader. What I mean with that is, I think it's something that happens in our childhood. In,
It's not actually. Um, Leadership isn't a position; it's a choice. And so, as we learn to lower our walls and stop giving away our energy, our inspirational leadership comes to the surface. So we all, regardless of whether we're in the C-suite or the production floor, we all need to become better leaders. It's not a title. If you need a title to get people to follow you, you're not a leader. If your actions don't inspire followers, you're not a leader. And so that's not a position. It's a choice that we all need to make, we all need to develop. We all need to become better leaders of us so
Yeah,
that
of ours, that
we can
of
serve and
ourselves.
inspire others.
Yeah. So you should learn about it in school, I guess.
Well, that would be great, wouldn't it?
No, because if you can lead yourself,
that's a whole other subject.
yeah, yeah, wow. So what is MBL? And you just I didn't know about the book, so that was just an amazing plot to put.
Actually, I
Have you
sent
read?
you an email on that this morning.
Oh Lord, I
I'm sorry,
apologize for my
go ahead.
ignorance.
That's all right. But I just you can look at it afterwards.
So what are you working on now? What's the big thing for MBL?
We're focusing more on providing in-house coaching to executives and organizations. We're also working with venture capitalists to help them ensure the success of of their investment in the companies they're working with. One of the key um, considerations that VCs have is in the leadership of the organizations they're investing in, over and above products and services and market data and all of that. They want to ensure that the company's gonna be successful. And so we work with VCs when they're evaluating these investment opportunities to actually go into these startups and help to develop their leadership and emotional intelligence
And how do you do that?
through the MBL program.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
Okay. So they jump into the course or the program and then learn a bit about themselves. I guess that's the main part,
well,
isn't
they
it?
learn a lot. There are some companies I've worked with for over 15 years because the ROI keeps getting greater and greater and greater as they learn to master the habits that enable them to stop giving away their energy. It's a never-ending process. It's like if you gave somebody $1 and they gave you $5 back, you'd try and get as many dollars as you could to invest, and that's what companies get in using the MBL program.
What habits are we talking about? Can you give some more examples in regards to habits?
Sure.
Because I would assume that anyone doesn't want to give away their energy because
It's not conscious. It's not. See, we don't know what we don't know. It's called metacognition. It's not that they're consciously making these choices. It's habits they've developed from birth that unconsciously cause them to give away their energy and steal the energy of others. So part of the MBL program is helping them to see the habits they've developed and the results that they're getting and provide them better habits that get them better results. See, getting back to what I was saying earlier, we're really very we're barely conscious at all, and that's not a negative. It's just the reality. The reality is that our unconscious mind is stronger, faster, and takes less of our metabolic energy than our conscious mind. Think of it this way. Um, think of your unconscious mind as an elephant, and think of your conscious mind as a flea on the back of the elephant. The elephant doesn't even know the flea's there. But the thing is that it's the elephant that determines behavior. It's our unconscious habit. See, anything we practice long enough consciously converts from being a conscious activity to an unconscious habit through a process called automaticity. That's why you don't have to think about how to tie your shoes anymore or how to drive a car, because through repetition, it's moved from being a conscious activity to an unconscious habit. So if we want better results than we're currently getting, we have to develop better habits than we currently have. And we show people what those habits are.
do you have a popsicle I think you call it popsicle in America, a candy. It's like in order to get people addicted to drugs, you always hand them a little specimen for them to try. Do you have an example of where I could, where I could reveal myself in regards to
Sure,
bad
sure,
habit I have?
sure. Let's I'd love to. Um, let's talk about the authentic. No, it won't hurt. Just
Don't worry,
relax,
I'm Mr.
relax.
Raw. I can take it.
Okay, so let's talk about authentic communications and how you might be giving away your energy and how you communicate. So let me ask you two questions, and there's no right or wrong answer to these questions. On an average day, do you consider yourself a high or low energy person? Second question, on an average day, are you more focused on people and emotions or results and tasks?
Uh, tasks, I would say.
Okay. So if you want, I can share my screen with you. I don't, it's probably not necessary, but um, from a communications
Yeah,
point
please
of
share
view,
your screen. Please share your
oh,
screen.
sure. Bear with me just a second. I'll just pull it up here. Uh,
But I would also say that I can only be focused on the tasks if if I emotionally feel good with the human beings around me.
yeah, bear with me. I'm just almost there. Okay, so share screen, window, entire. There we go. Share. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so the two questions I asked you were on an average day, do you consider yourself a high or low energy person? You said high. The second question I said, are you more focused on people and feelings or results and tasks? And you said tasks. So from a communications point of view, you find yourself more often in this quadrant. Um, you're very analytical. You take in a lot of information, but you don't always give out as much information as you're taking in. So you're more reactive, and the more your walls are up, the more you tend to avoid making decisions until you can make that perfect decision. So you think that people in this quadrant think that a perfect answer 3 months from now is better than some information today. So that's how you try to control your environment from communications. What you need to do is you need to add the opposite quadrant. You need to become more proactive. Um, so that would help you to lower your walls and be a more authentic communicator. Does that make
This
any
is the very
sense?
first time in my life anyone called me not proactive.
Well, based on what you said, if you're focused on tasks, and I'm sorry, did you say high or low energy?
I have high energy. I
Oh,
always
I'm
have high
sorry,
energy.
I'm mistaken. You're in this quadrant. Your
Which one?
outstanding need is, quadrant three. Your
Control room.
outstanding need is for achievement. You're very focused on, you're very good at telling the truth, but when you get scared, when your walls go up, sometimes you use the truth to beat people to death with, to control and manipulate others. So telling the truth and the more your walls are up, the more micromanaging or controlling you become. And when you get scared, you go into fight mode. So telling the truth is always the right thing to do, but it's not enough. You have to add the opposite quadrant. You have to add compassion or empathy for the person you're speaking with to lower your walls and be a more authentic communicator. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So
So
how do I change my habit?
practice. You work with me, and this is just one of the ways that you're giving away your energy. One of many ways you're unconsciously giving away your energy and trying to steal the energy of others unconsciously. So it's like, think of it this way. Do you want me to shut this screen off or you want to keep looking at it?
I think we got it now.
Okay.
What interest?
So think of, bear with me. I got to make the screen bigger.
You see me.
I can see you. I want to make it bigger. Here we go. Think of think of yourself as a Hoover Dam, holding back all of that water, that energy, and there are cracks in the dam. So I help the individual see the cracks and repair the cracks in the dam. So there are many ways that we give, as I mentioned, there are many ways that we are unconsciously giving away our energy. Communications is just one. So we can become a more authentic communicator and be still giving away our energy and how we're making decisions or listening. So our behavior is the culmination of all of our habits working together to create our behavior. So what I do in the MBL program is I pull those habits apart and look at them individually and try to fix them individually. And that impacts our total behavior. That makes sense?
It's totally sense.
Yeah. So it's
Phil,
yeah,
what is your, you have any concluding moments to share in regards to this? This is really, we could speak about this, I don't, for hours. Wow, this
sure.
is,
Um, some other things to consider. In the 20th century, the key to success was based on intellect, our intellectual intelligence, our ability with that intelligence, which is genetic, by the way. It's not something we develop. We inherited from our parents. If we have a high IQ, they had a high IQ. Their parents had a high IQ. We simply inherited those genes. But in the 21st century, the key to success is emotional intelligence, which is a completely different type of intelligence than intellectual intelligence. And everybody can develop their emotional intelligence. The ROI is massively and greater than intellectual intelligence. There was a 40-year study done at UC Berkeley comparing IQ with EQ that concluded that emotional intelligence was 400% more valuable in achieving success than intellectual intelligence. One other thing to consider, it's estimated that within the next 2 to 3 years, AI will have an equivalent IQ of over 1,000.
oh, that's very,
So the key to
yes,
success, my point is, the key to success in this century for everyone, for every organization, for every executive,
especially in
for every
3 to 5 years.
individual, is the development of their emotional intelligence. So I would strongly suggest that every individual and every organization begin that process of developing their emotional intelligence.
Yeah. You know what? I believe we are, and I envy you now because you come from the semiconductor industry, and you have practically your life. My life is a little bit shorter, but you have practically lived through the craziest evolution of humankind. And
It's uh, it's nothing compared to what we're about to face. Let me just get how much more time do we have? We have five
go
minutes.
for it. Yeah, go for it. I agree with
Um,
you.
okay.
I
And
actually
without
started
really,
writing a book about this, Phil.
pardon?
I actually started writing a book about this.
Good. We're at a tip without scaring your listeners. The reality is that we're at a tipping point as a species on the planet. We're facing a tsunami of rapidly accelerating global change with a 500 million year old brain that doesn't like change. It's estimated that in this century, we're going to experience the equivalent of roughly 20,000 years worth of change or 200 centuries worth of change. Put that into some kind of perspective so we can understand it. A 10-year-old today, by the time they're 60, will be experiencing the equivalent of a year's worth of change in a week and a half. So here's what happens because we don't like change. Biology, we're not set up for change.
Like
Whether the
Steve,
change is good change or bad change, we don't like change. So here's what happens. Whenever we take an action that moves us outside of our comfort zone, there's a part of our old lizard brain called the amygdala that has been trying to keep us safe and alive by making sure we never leave the perceived safety of our cave. So when we do, it automatically triggers a release of a hormone into our bloodstream called cortisol, which causes the executive center of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, to shut off, and we go into what psychologists refer to as an amygdala hijack, fight, flight, or freeze. When that happens in conflict situations, people die. When it happens in business or personal situations, relationships die. We burn trust. So, as an analogy, if you think of your amygdala as a very frightened 4-year-old child, The development of our emotional intelligence acts like a big brother or big sister to quiet that amygdala response down and better enable us to feel the fear and anxiety that change and innovation always triggers in us, and be able to recognize it and move through it towards what it is we're trying to achieve, as opposed to allowing that fear and anxiety to keep us trapped in our comfort zones. So the development of our emotional intelligence is the next stage in our human evolution.
No, no, it's gonna be crazy. Uh,
It's literally gonna be a tipping point. Um,
yeah, because we actually don't know what is gonna happen. That's
but
because the
that's okay.
intelligence
See,
will be
developing
so.
our emotion, we cannot predict what's going to happen, but developing our emotional intelligence enables us to respond to those challenges rather than react to them.
Yeah.
If we simply react to them, we will destroy ourselves. We have to develop the emotional intelligence to respond to the challenges we're facing rather than react to them out of ego-based fear.
Yeah. And I think thinking a lot about this, of course, hence writing a book about it. I think the end game for humankind, which is quite funny when you call it humankind, the only solution for humanity and the planet for that matter as well, because now we're building something that we can't even grasp. Is humankind need to learn to be kind.
And that's what happens. You're
We
correct.
need the
Eh,
AGI to be kind as well.
Well, AGI is just a tool um, that reflects our current level of consciousness. We need to learn to stop giving away our energy. We need to learn to lower our walls and stop giving away our energy. That actually creates the connection within ourselves and each other that creates higher levels of trust and engagement. It, Instead of coming from fear, we're coming from love. When we lower our walls, when we raise our walls, we're coming from fear, ego-based fear. When we lower our walls, we're coming from love.
I usually say you can live. There are two ways of living. You can either live out of fear or you can live out of intent.
Sure.
And that's it.
And our intent is to be loving.
Yes.
We
And kind.
learn to be fearful from birth. Can I show
Yes.
you something?
Yeah.
Since we're having this conversation, let me show you another slide. I know this is a lot for our listener, our people, but this is the central thesis that I've been proving everywhere in the world. Share, almost there.
This is so interesting.
It is really. And the thing about it that really is interesting, it's 100% correct. No, that's not the one I want. Hang on, did that incorrectly. Hang on, I'll get there. I'll get to you. So I want to show this window. There it is. There it is. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so when we're born, this is the way we look. Lots of energy, smile from ear to ear. As we start to develop these habits that cause us to unconsciously give away our energy and steal the energy of others, we start to look more and more like this. And by the time we're teenagers, the smile's gone. See, children
That
are
applies to
born,
everyone.
it applies
If
to
you have kids, you know it's true.
it applies to everybody on the planet. So when we're born, we have openness but lack wisdom. The MBL program reverses this process by helping people to lower their walls, and they get back to the openness they had as a child, but this time with the wisdom of a master. See, people that go through the process of developing these habits get back to that openness, that love they had as a child, but also with the consciousness, the wisdom of knowing what's going on in them and around them, the wisdom of a master.
Being aware. This has been amazing, Phil. A lot of thought. This is really a wow. Any leader should attend your program, I would say, because I don't meet many people who are aware. To be genuine,
Unfortunately, unfortunately, it's
and
interesting.
the power of becoming aware in your own world is
Yep, it
nothing
free
better.
it frees us. If we were just to increase our awareness by 1%, 1%, it would dramatically change everything.
especially
See, we're
yourself.
See, we're only, well, it, and everybody we come in contact with, remember those mirror neurons? We have the ability, it's called emotional contagion. We have the ability to impact the people we come in contact with in either a positive or negative way based on whether our walls are up or down. And we're doing that in every moment of every day. So I forget what I was going to say. I lost it.
How do I?
Oh,
How do
I
I?
know what I was going to say. I know what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Getting back to what I was saying about this being an experiential versus an intellectual process. Now, I've worked with people running multi-billion-dollar companies at Harvard MBAs and PhDs, and I've been a faculty advisor to doctoral students at Northwestern on organizational development and emotional intelligence. It's no different anywhere. People going through the MBL program, they're going, "This is amazing," and I say, "I know, but let me ask you a question. Is there anything I could have said to you before you started down this path that could have helped you to prepare you for what you know now?" And they think about it and they say, "You know what? There isn't. There's nothing you could have told me. There's nothing you could have said to me that could have helped me to understand what I understand now." See, that's the difference between knowing something intellectually and knowing something experientially. If you know it and you don't do it, you don't really know it. You just think you know it. Lots of people think they know a lot, but it's not reflected in their behavior, so they don't really know it. So that's the difference between intellectual intelligence and the experiential process of developing leadership and emotional intelligence.
And I guess that's what Socrates already figured out 3,500 years ago. We just
Probably,
didn't listen.
yeah. The key is now. So here's the differentiator. Here's what makes this so critical now, and here's what makes this a tipping point. I'm 72 years old. I think I've got about another 10 years, but on the rock. Um, but we're facing a future we're absolutely unprepared for. Our educational system has failed us, and our employment system
Awesome.
has failed us because it's focused on our ability to do intellectual labor and has done nothing to develop our emotional intelligence. So we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. But it also provides the motivation for change because we must change. We must evolve beyond simply intellectual intelligence, and the development of our emotional intelligence is the next essential stage for our human evolution.
Gonna be interesting. It's a good time to be alive, I must say.
It
Ladies and
is.
gentlemen, Phil Johnson. This was an honor. This was amazing. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I wish you all a great day and have a raw time, and Merry Christmas, by the way.
Thank you, Stefan.